Hey, before you dig into today's episode of the Dr. Snedeker podcast, one little thing that I had to bring up. So last week I didn't have video. Some of you might have noticed that if you watch it on YouTube. But this week we have a little problem with the audio. Now, everything is still there. I'm just going to put it out because I'm just going to put it out. But I rolled into recording this podcast immediately following a live stream, and the software that I use for the live stream allows me to control what I'm hearing and what's going what's being sourced from my computer. So I didn't realize that I had left Spotify playing, and while I was recording, I couldn't hear that Spotify was in the background. So the whole vocal track has Earth Radio songs in the background. So I tried to cut around it with some of the piano parts where I'm not talking, but hey, think of it as you're joining me kind of in an informal hang where we're, listening to music, playing music, I'm talking about music. Next week is going to go back to normal. Everything's going to be recorded the way I normally do it so that none of these problems happen. Thanks for bearing with me, and thanks for supporting. You're just so darn helpful with all your support. All right. Enjoy today's episode. Hello, everyone. You might have heard that voiceover and thought, what? He's not doing a bit? No, because we don't have time. Because breaking news. There's a rabble being roused down at the Capitol. Eyewitness reports have confirmed this, and what are they calling it, folks? They're calling it an insurrection. 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 An insurrection is an insurrection. For the king of the world, Mr. Bombo J. Trump. Don't worry, it's not a political hot take. But don't you like music tropes? I love them. They're great. They're fun. This episode is going to be a little bit shorter today because I don't have as much time. Because I decided to cram my life into a 4-hour span today. Because I'm organized. I haven't eaten today. I am running on a Red Bull I had earlier and a little coffee, a lot of water. And if you were here in an alternate platform, on an alternate reality, you would have seen my solo piano stream. I've done it once before in a previous episode. I had this piano set up and I thought, why not go right into the podcast? And by my little insurrection joke thing with musical motif, you can probably guess when this is being recorded. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the It's a nice little segue song. I wanted to talk a little bit about this week. The first week, 2021, and, all insanity aside, this has been the first time in a long time where I have felt, being out of school, being out of a very rigid system, being out of a hectic configuration of, contract work and sessions and running around and driving in the cold and being cold and being cold and being cold. Although people see me wear shorts when I drive to Third Coast. And the reason why I do that is because, I'm going to clarify it now, podcast exclusive, clarifying it now. The reason why I do that is because your car isn't cold, unless your heater's broken. But my car isn't cold. So I leave my house, usually within minutes of a shower. I'm still feeling warm from the shower. I have my hoodie on. I have this long sleeve shirt on today too. I don't have the hoodie on right now, obviously. But then I leave, a warm house after a hot shower, feeling warm, feeling fresh, feeling cool. And then I get in my car, which takes maybe 5 minutes to get warm. So by the time my body temperature is cooled to the colder air, it is starting to even out with the warming of my car heat. Then, what happens after that, you might ask? I get out of my car. Whoa. I get out of my car. I go into Third Coast, which is kept at a reasonable temperature. Because, especially, you got acoustic instruments, you've got, humidity to control, you've got, all these factors that a recording studio with a lot of equipment needs to feel comfortable. You want your clients to feel cozy. You want to be able to, bump up the heat a little bit, turn it down a little bit. There's very close to this room is a little kitchen with, coffee, a fridge, a little snacks, a little, you just want people to feel cozy. So I get here in my shorts, feeling cozy, feeling good, and I feel more comfortable for the workday. Because honestly, who is doing... Wait. Breaking news. A lot of people have been working from home. Eyewitness News reports that most people who work from home don't need to have a decor because they're working from home. And in fact, some people are so adamant to not, dress up for work. They aim their camera so they see the upper half of their body. And if you were at a side view, they're not wearing pants. So, and people have... What baffles me is how people have done this and they think that they're just immune to mistakes, especially it's so easy to know if you're on or not. Is your screen still on? Then you're on. Is there a slash mark through the lower bar where the video is? Then you're not on. That means it's off. This shouldn't be rocket science. And some people are still like, but I just expose the fact to my boss and colleagues that I don't wear pants around my house. Which also, most people don't do that. Honestly, working from home, the times that I do stay at home, this past week, I didn't have the energy to go out to Third Coast a lot, but I was doing a lot of work in town, and I was seeing, some friends on a walk, doing all this stuff. I don't have time. I've never had time and the patience for the working environment because it's all this weird facade and expectation, and it's dumb. It's dumb. Most people don't granted, some people are like, I love dressing up and then I look nice for work. Other people are like, man, I do a better job when I'm feeling good and I'm dressed up. That's fine. Me, I am of the mindset that as a musician, I have ultimate control of how I want to present myself. And one thing people keep saying, they're like, I just want something authentic. I don't want all these ads coming at me. I want to just connect with humanity again. Why is it so hard to find someone to look at and go, that's a reflection of my life and not these stylized pop artists?
And then, look at me, I'm in jeans and a long sleeve shirt. Are you not entertained? This is regular people clothes. And then some people are like, well, you should be dressing up because you're performing. And there's a performance. I've been dressing up, wearing little costumes for years. And playing very stressful music in very stressful environments. And it is, it's made me a good player, but it's also made me hyper aware of when I don't have control over something. And if last year taught me anything, I want to have control over my time. I like that. I like being able to schedule things because I want to, not necessarily because I have to. Right now it's a blend, but a lot of what I'm scheduling is because I want to. Because I can, come here, play a soft melody on a piano. Oh, the squirrel skitters by. Where's he going? Why, he's going up to the top of the tree. Scurrying up. Oh, the sun's starting to peek out a little bit from the clouds to reveal... I don't know. I don't want to put on a facade. And if it's felt that way the last few episodes, I apologize. A lot of how I get into this podcast isn't what I've normally been doing. On stage, I'm usually not the person that's like, look at this, look at me go. So to have this trial phase of being behind a camera, doing something, it's important. It's important to explore these options, and it's important to grow as a versatile entertainer. I want to be able to have people come to this podcast. Obviously, it's not going to happen in episode 5, but maybe in episode 100. There will be people who have stuck with it along the journey, and I can look back and be like, you know what? I figured it out. I figured out my rhythm, my flow, my passion, my editing, all that stuff. Segue. So this week, I did a lot of work, but not as much. I even mentioned it when I was talking in a different podcast. I did a lot of work, but I didn't do all of the work. I took breaks. I played Halo. I haven't played Halo in forever. And I found out that a trio of musicians that I'm playing with, we've been recording and working on music the last 3 months. And we meet at least twice a month on Wednesdays, usually for tacos and then, listening to stuff, working on stuff, recording stuff. It's all part of this journey as a trio. But recently we've been playing Halo because two of the members have consoles, Xbox Ones, Xbox Series X's. And then I have a PC, which I can get the Xbox app on Windows, and I'm subscribed to Game Pass, and I could use my copy of the Master Chief Collection and do crossplay, which is something that should have been done years ago, but is becoming a more recent trend. And in doing this, I feel like I can truly, come home, unwind, relax, not have to worry about things, and just sink it, zone into video games. I forget how much you think like, oh, it's a game about war and violence, and there's all these Spartans running around trying to shoot you with your guns, and I'm trying to think of a music thing. There's a lot of guns coming around, and they're running running all them Spartans out of town. And it's going to be a pretty bad night when you go out and fight. Learn that if you're playing a bluegrass band as a keyboard player. It's a guitar lick that they just like imagine them improvising. It's like, and we're resetting. Yeah. Anyway, you know, it's like, oh, it's violence. What are you gonna do? It's relaxing because it's something that's not work. It's just fun. It's not stressful. It's not competitive. I'm eventually going to start making content using video games, but it's not going to be me being MLG Pro, gamer, flex, all that. It's going to be, you know, on the collecting side, on the trying side, on the playing side, on the, you know, different types of games, just, you know, exploring. But got to get the music in first because that's the bread and butter. That's what I know. But I want to showcase other things. Because what is life if not documented content? Wouldn't that be horrible if that was my stance? It's like, join me as I turn my life into one big content machine. You know, you're seeing a window into a side of me, a portion of me, a portion. You know, it's a more performative, more animated version, more song and dance, jazz hands, all that. But that's also probably because of the caffeine. But on other things, I'm not, you know, I'm different. Not in a radical way, but a more, you know, I have different expectations for different things. So I'm comfortable sharing this side in my own podcast format because it's something I have control over. It's something I can do. And one thing I wanted to check real quick, if you bear with me. Just bear with me. Good. All right. Last time I recorded an episode, you might remember episode 4, there's no video because I didn't have a good shot. And I've had it too where my phone has run out of memory and it's just been like, well, guess you're out of video. So, next plan of attack, get another iPhone. Not brand new. Definitely not brand new. Definitely not the newest model. But the 10 is now 2 models old. And that's the model I have right now. And it works great. So, I see a lot of people who they don't have webcams, but they get phones. Because there's ways to make it work. And there's ways to film with it. And the cameras in them are a lot better than they were in the early versions. So I want to get one that I can leave and have, like, that's the camera one. And then I can have one that's like, oh, this is the communicating, whatever. Pentatonics, baby. Pentatonics. They're great. Very flowy. You can just kind of like... you just kind of flow with them. But Why not talk about the new year? We've talked a little bit about my past week, trying to navigate my feelings and emotions around a lot of different topics while also rediscovering the stress relief that comes from gaming and just carving out some time to relax. And that's the goal. For 2021, continually, with control over my schedule, be assertive with my time. Because I can waste a lot of my own time, definitely. But other people can also ask a lot of my time. And more often than not, I'm willing to lend my time to a lot of different things. But sometimes I need to be like, hey, I'm in, I'm out, we're good. That's just what this day is. It's me for an hour and a half. It's me for a half hour. I sometimes come into this room and there's a client who's like, I need keys. And then they're like, here's my song. Something. Or it's like very 1414 singer-songwriter-y stuff. I come in, listen to it, in and out under an hour. Is that, did I expect to do that today? Not necessarily today, but did I expect to do it that day? No. Is it fun to do it that way sometimes? Yes. Because I'm always trying to, showcase hey, I could save you a lot of time. The biggest time wasters in studio recording are people who don't know their parts, they don't know their instruments, and they don't know when they're right or wrong. And some of you might be going, hey, that's not fair. There is no right and wrong in music. There is only interpretations and learning and vocabulary. Sure, that's a way to look at it. But when you're in a recording studio, the right way is to track your part in a way that is in time with the rest of the song. If the song doesn't have a time signature, or, it's just like, oh, it's... it's pure expression. It's just literally just bashing the keys. Then there's still an obligation. You can't just be timid if they want no, I want crunchy, I want big, I want beefy. Look, I should be able to hear a word I just want a little bit of soft oh, that's nice, that's pleasant. Or, oh, I want fierce. Okay. Boom. It's not a, okay, what do I, no, boom. Start with the boom. Start with what comes immediately natural to you. Because if you played enough stuff, played your instrument long enough, you played enough shows, played enough styles, played enough things, you've heard enough music, you have an idea of what comes to mind. Some people, it's oh, I tend to, I listen to a lot of Beatles, so it comes with the territory. I don't listen to a lot of Beatles, by the way. I am of the weird antithesis to so many, a lot of what made me want to be a better pianist was listening to metal. So I'm used to, hearing arpeggios and Jordan Rudess doing kind of shape. So I hear these people performing very technically proficient music, or like, emotionally mature music, or well-arranged music, and you can't ignore it when you as a reference when you get into the studio. So, when I'm able to knock out something in a half hour, it's not because like purely is like, wow, he's just this, like, I got him. I have this talented fairy I picked out of the stars, and now I have this talented magical fairy that will grant me the music I'm looking for. It's like, no, I'm a product of literally doing this for 20 years. 20 years playing piano, studying piano, performing. I started my first performances, I think I did a wedding when I was 10 or 11. And that was like my dad's coworker was getting remarried, and they needed some your standard wedding fare. So I accompanied my dad, who plays violin. I accompanied him on piano. But cut to now, I have 2 degrees, and that doesn't make me an expert in everything. But it also it means that I've gone through the gauntlet that is music school, the hours of practicing, the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, the crazy expectations, it's only 15 credits in your undergrad, and then 1 credit is like 2+ hours of work every day. And you're like, how am I going to fit in studying for tests, writing papers, preparing for my ensembles, accompanying work, performing solo piano, getting out into the scene, that's why so many people in music school sometimes miss their boat with the scene, is because they spend all their time in this insulated environment. And then they're like, well, I guess I go work at another school. And then it's like, this makes sense because I'm in another school as a performer, and I'm doing the thing that I did in a school. Just like... I don't know how to do a classical... whatever that old song is. There's a lot of classical rep I want to revisit. But, long story short, I've been doing this for 20 years. Think of anything you've ever done ever in your entire life ever. Ever. Think of anything ever. Anything. If you're 28 like me, or you're in your 20s, think of anything you've done for 20 years. Walking, talking, eating, socializing, going through an education system, maybe, for that long, if you're like going through college, being in a work environment, maybe. I don't know if you've worked anywhere as a 5-year-old, but think about anything you've ever done. Your first love, your first kiss, your first prom, your first job, your second job, your third job, your career shift, your school change, you're moving to another city, doing that. Think of all the things you've ever done, and through all of that, in the back of your head, know that I've been working on piano. I've been working on music. So I have to realize that I am a product of all of these things, all of these years, all of the teachers, all of the hours of investing in myself and other people investing into me. And there should not ever be a time for me, realistically, unless I'm totally like, this sounds awesome. Like, I shouldn't want to do another type of career because I've done this longer than anything I've ever done in anything I've ever had. The only relationship for anything longer is my family and, like, one friend who I check in with, that we don't really see. He's a doctor now, but I've had one friend for about that long. And... think about that. People are always like, here's Mitzi and Paul, and they've been married for 70 years. And you're like, what? 70 years? How did that happen? That's like 2 grown adults put together for their marriage. Like, and people are like, wow. And then it's like, I'm not 30 yet, and I've put in 20 years of those 30, almost 30 years, playing this instrument, studying music. You know, it's longer than any church I've attended, longer than most friendships, most relationships, most like other random jobs I've had other than music, like camp counselor or working in a steel company for 3 months, which was not the best decision ever. I was just like, oh, the pay's pretty good. And then I'm like, oh, my schedule is awful. So I impress upon you that you look at your own musical life. Maybe you've only been playing for 5 years, but in those 5 years, you're like, I've played X amount of shows with this band. I've gotten better on my instrument. I have a better sense of vocabulary. I know what I want to do. Then do it. Like, do it. Try things. If you're a performer who doesn't record a lot, try recording. If you're a recording artist who doesn't perform a lot, try performing. Everything influences each other. Everything in music influences each other. That's why, like, this is sound. This is me recording through a thing. This is all part of the learning to use software. Like, it all feeds into each other. I've been talking to a lot of people who have made that leap in the last year. They're like, you know what? I have to take a more holistic approach to music. And that's music technology, music business, music marketing, music, like music insert thing that you would do for any normal career. And yes, you might not be the best marketer, but maybe you learn a little bit along the way. Maybe you learn how to use Canva or Photoshop to make a poster. And you're like, oh, I suck at marketing. And it's like, no, you actually make pretty good posters. Like, you just need to connect with someone who knows how to push it onto the internet. You learn, as the wise Tony Hawk once said, and I think I've said it before on this podcast, you learn everything about the business you're in so you know what you don't want to do. And a lot of people this year are like, oh my gosh, I took sound and video and lighting people all for granted. I will never, ever underpay or underappreciate anyone ever again. I had someone who tried to hire me for $50 to do 6 hours of sound. If there was a way to like that idea, that sentence turns into a person, and then, it gets thrown into a video game like Mortal Kombat, I would just destroy that idea, because that's assuming that sound is worth under $10 an hour, and it's not. Sound is very dynamic. It's not setting and forgetting, and it's a constant monitoring. So when people are like, hey, can you run sound and play in the show? My brain will explode because the whole time it's like, okay, we're playing. Oh, this is cool. Like, oh yeah, she sounds great. Great singing. Oh yeah, there's the horn part. Okay, we're going to the verse. And okay, no, what's that sound? Is that me? No, it's not me. Okay, I can play full volume. Okay, is it me? No, it's not me. Is it an effect? No. Okay, we're looking. What? You don't want more view? Okay, let me. Okay, let's see. We're back at the chorus. Okay. Is that good? Is that good? Or yes, no? Yes, no. Is that good? Okay, that's good. Okay. Oh, what do you want? You need more? Okay. All right, we're doing. Oh, hold on. Let me get these heads. One second. Oh, they can't hear me. I know you. you see like how you see it like you as an audience person are going to start being like, what are they talking about? How are they communicating? What's going on? It's breaking me out of the, like, some people like that behind the scenes. They're like, oh, there's something right. What are they going to solve it? Is he gonna like, oh, and then other people are like, that's very distracting. I'm trying to listen to the music and I'm paying attention to, they're trying to troubleshoot. You see, this is why musicians should just have it together before. And then I can't stop and be like, hey, listen up. There's problems, okay? We're all going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. And then start playing again. So, occasionally it's nice to have my brain flex like that because I know I can do it to some degree. But when I'm trying to do that, it's hard to play and listen and adjust and hit certain marks, and it's not easy. So, like, when you're think of all the churches that hire MDs that, like, can, they're playing. They're not also mixing. They're trying to lead a band. They're trying to be like 4, 3, 1. All right, 5. All right, 4. All right, 2. They're doing numbers, or they're like the track going verse 2, 3. And you're like listening to tracks. Chorus 2, 3. Hold 5. Like, I've never had to do that position, but I watch people do that, and you're like, oh my gosh. Literally having control of a whole band. The whole band has to be in sync, in tune. There's rehearsals, there's backing tracks. All these things have to be in place. Sound has to be good. The mix has to be good. So all these people who last year were like, wow, sound's kind of hard, isn't it? It's like, yes, how have you gone through life not realizing this? Sound is dynamic. Like I said, it's dynamic. It's always changing. But until you do something yourself, you don't really know. I didn't think down on anyone. I didn't go into sound thinking like, oh, this is easy. I thought, man, this is going to be a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it'll let me be able to communicate better in a live setting. I can be like, hey, we got this amount of channels. He's running this way. We need a mic for the guitar amp. We need this for that. And that way the rest of the band can set up. And then if the sound guy wants to go individually to each person, that's fine. But if they need a liaison, I can just quick be like, yeah, I sent you our stage plot. Here's kind of what we're doing. We don't have the full band today, or we're missing a guitar, so you can just have keys, bass, drums, all that stuff. But go into 21. And have, all these opportunities to explore and really, take collaboration seriously. Make sure the people in your community doing a lot of things are taken care of, because they're only going to be an asset to you. Take care of yourself, because you don't know how much of an asset you are to your community. And, carve out some time to relax. But I'm leaving you early because I'm going on a live stream with my patrons in 2 minutes. So I need to get that set up. But thanks. Enjoy your week. We did it, guys. Episode 5.